episode 468 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Tonight I will be talking about WWE Friday Night Smackdown with the fallout from the WWE SummerSlam Premium Live event and tonight's AEW Rampage. Right here, right now, 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Welcome, Wrestling Fanatics, to tonight's episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, episode 468 on this Friday night. So, we will be talking about tonight's episodes of WWE Friday Night Smackdown and AEW Rampage. But without any further ado, let's get right into it and talk about tonight's WWE Friday Night Smackdown, which was live from Calgary, Alberta, Canada at the Scotiabank Saddle Dome, and tonight's Smackdown, which features the fallout from SummerSlam. Our new SmackDown commentary team tonight, which still features Michael Cole, but now along with Kevin Patrick and Corey Graves. And one thing I noticed about tonight's three-man announce team was that Michael Cole did seem kind of lay out a little bit and let Kevin Patrick be more of the lead play-by-play guy on this team. Well, for one, I noticed that he was in the middle, and I was expecting Michael Cole, just because he's the one who's been around the longest, that he might have been taking over for play-by-play. But it seems like going forward, they're going to be having Kevin Patrick as the head play-by-play guy on SmackDown, and then just have Michael Cole maybe to add a little bit to help out. And let's get on to SmackDown tonight, which I had to watch online tonight, because if you're in Detroit, I'm sure you noticed when you went to watch SmackDown and turn on Channel 2, Fox 2 here in Detroit, that they were showing the preseason Lions game. But actually SmackDown is airing on Fox 2 here in Detroit right now. But unfortunately, I had to watch it earlier because I didn't want to have to watch Rampage first, and then watch SmackDown at 11:30, and then stay up to 1:30 to do the podcast. So I found another way to watch it. And we start things off on SmackDown tonight. Charlotte, Flair, and Asuka, which starts off pretty good match, I thought. And this one ends, though, as a no contest with interference from the new WWE Women's Champion Io Sky with Bayley and Dakota Kai. And Io Sky gets in the ring attacking both women, and then Bayley joins in. But Dakota Kai, who is still injured, stayed on the floor. And we have the phenomenal AJ Styles along with Michin Mia Yim in his corner, taking on Karrion Kross with Scarlett in his corner. And first, I always forget something. For Charlotte and Asuka, I'd say, since it was kind of cut short, no contest, I'd say 2 out of 5 ring bells. Sorry about that. Now back to Styles and Kross. I thought this was a pretty good match here. Styles, of course, looked great. Kross at one time hitting a pretty impressive Death Valley driver onto Styles from the ring apron to the announce table. And Scarlett gets involved, but Mia Yim is able to stop her, throws her over the announce table, and then in the ring, AJ Styles hits the Styles Clash, pins Karrion Kross to get the win. For this one, I'd say 3 out of 5 ring bells. Pretty good match. I'm not sure if this feud is over just yet between AJ Styles and Karrion Kross, but I'd kind of say that the way this match ended, Styles getting the win clean, and I would probably say it kind of looked like it could be the finish to the feud. But then Corey Graves on commentary said something about Karrion Kross isn't left in your rearview mirror till he wants to be, or something like that. So it kind of made it seem like this feud could actually keep going between Karrion Kross and AJ Styles. And then at this time, we get an appearance by WWE Hall of Famer, who will be celebrating 25 years in WWE next week, the Rated R superstar, Edge. And he talks about Sheamus. He wants to have a match with him next week in Toronto for his 25th anniversary. So he calls out Sheamus and the Brawling Brutes. They come to the ring, and Sheamus talks about how he was wondering what he was going to do with his life before he went to WWE, of course. And then he said one of the UK tours, he met up with some of the WWE superstars in a pub, and he talked to Edge, and he said Edge really helped him out, took the time to help him, and Sheamus accepted the challenge for next week in Toronto on SmackDown. So for Edge's 25th anniversary celebration, it will be the Rated R superstar taking on the Celtic Warrior, Edge versus Sheamus in Toronto next week. And LA Knight defeated Top Dollar. Not a bad match. I just have to say 2 out of 5 ring bells here. Definitely not a bad match though. Big fan of LA Knight. He's, of course, still over like Rover, like they would say. And next up is the WWE United States Championship match. Earlier in the night, Austin Theory attacked Santos Escobar in the back, injuring his knee. And then at this time, when Santos Escobar is making his entrance, Austin Theory attacks him once again, going after the knee. And Rey Mysterio and the rest of the LWO and Adam Pearce make their way out. And Austin Theory says he was looking forward to defending his United States Championship tonight. But he says Santos Escobar is too weak. And then at this time, Adam Pearce says that Austin Theory will be defending his United States Championship tonight, right now, against Rey Mysterio. And I thought these two had a really good match. And it is Rey Mysterio defeating Austin Theory to win the United States Championship. Really good match, I thought. I have to go with 3.5 out of 5 ring bells. Definitely was a big fan of this match. I was kind of surprised to see them put the title on Mysterio, though. And when Rey was leaving in the back, the LWO came out. Santos Escobar was there, congratulated him and hugged him. And after Rey won the title tonight, I started thinking that this could be a setup for a feud and turn Santos Escobar heel. Because since this was actually supposed to be his title shot originally, and even though it wasn't Rey's fault that he was attacked by Austin Theory and injured, but they could still do this angle where he's upset that Rey took his title shot, and then he could turn on him, and now they could feud over the U.S. title with Santos Escobar as the heel, and of course Rey Mysterio as the babyface. I think that could actually be a pretty good feud if they choose to go that way, but who knows. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a U.S. title rematch between Theory and Mysterio, though. Not sure when or if that will be happening, though, but definitely wouldn't be surprised. And next up, we have Hail to the Chief, still undisputed Universal Champion, still head of the table, still the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. He makes his way to the ring with the wise man Paul Heyman and the enforcer Solo Sikoa. And first, he asked Paul Heyman where Jimmy Uso is. Paul says he does not know. And then Roman asks him if he's talked to him. And then at this time, Jimmy Uso makes his way out through the crowd. And first, Roman tells him that he owes him. He offers him a car. He offers him a yacht, power. And then Jimmy says he didn't do that for him. And what he did has nothing to do with Roman. And then at this time, Jey Uso makes his way to the ring and tells Jimmy to tell him why he did what he did. And he says he did it because he loves Jey. He said the Universal Championship and the power of being the tribal chief corrupted Roman Reigns, and he didn't want the same thing to happen to Jey. And he didn't want him to be a manipulative a-hole like Roman Reigns. And then he even tells Jey he can super kick him. But then Jey just turns his back on his brother. Then at this time, Jimmy starts to leave the ring and go up the aisleway. And in the ring, Roman starts to insult Jimmy, or Jey, I should say. And then Jey super kicks Roman, and then Solo attacks Jey, but then Jey turns it around, super kicks Solo, and then Roman gets back up and gets a Superman punch and goes for a spear, but Jey avoids it and hits a spear of his own. And after that, Jey leaves the ring. He calls back Jimmy Uso down the ramp. They meet in the middle of the aisle, and looks like they're gonna hug. But then Jey hits Jimmy with a super kick, lays him out. Then he says, I'm out of the bloodline, and I'm out of the WWE, as he leaves through the crowd. And then SmackDown goes off the air. And that was tonight's WWE Smackdown. I thought it was a pretty good show tonight with the fallout from SummerSlam. I would say I am definitely interested in what's going to happen next, especially with the Usos, which I kind of did talk about this morning on Good Morning Wrestling Fans, that it kind of seems like that this feud with the Usos could just be more between them and kind of be separated from the bloodline, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. But now apparently Jey Uso has quit not only just the bloodline, but WWE as well. Would be interesting to see how they bring him back after this. But still, overall, I'd say a pretty good episode of Friday Night Smackdown tonight. And now, at this time, let's go on over to TNT and talk about AEW Rampage, which was taped this past Wednesday night. And in Columbus, Ohio, at the Nationwide Arena. We start things off, Darby Allin taking on Brian Cage. Good match, I thought. Brian Cage once again having his face painted. Kind of, to me tonight, looked like kind of like the Powers of Pain almost. But I thought this was a really good match between Darby and Cage. I'd say 3.5 out of 5 ring bells. Darby Allin getting the win here. And then after the match, Darby Allin was attacked by Luchasaurus. And the AEW International Championship on the line. Freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy taking on Johnny TV, representing QTV. And at first, QTV gets involved, stand on each side of the apron, and then they are ejected from ringside. And then at this time, we see Wheeler Yuta from the Blackpool Combat Club come down. Of course, has a history with Orange Cassidy, being trained by him and the Best Friends. And he was also asked to leave, and Orange Cassidy successfully retains the International Championship, defeating Johnny TV. I'd say 3.5 out of 5 ring bells here. Another good title defense for Orange Cassidy. And then after the match, Wheeler Yuta comes back out and challenges Orange Cassidy to a match next week for the International Championship. And next up, the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions are in action. Aussie Open taking on the Outrunners, getting the win here. I'd say 2 out of 5 ring bells. Wasn't really much, though, of course, taking on an enhancement talent team. And then after the match, Aussie Open accepts the challenge from MJF and Adam Cole, Better Than You, baby, for the 0 hour right before All in London on the 27th. So that match is now official. And next up, we see a video package recapped by Mark Henry. And as the world's strongest man would say, it's time for the main event. And Saraya taking on Sky Blue is next. The winner will go on to All In, I believe, or is there one more match after this? But we'll advance. And good match here. We get some interference with the spray paint once again in the face of Sky Blue. And then Saraya is able to pick up the win, defeating Sky Blue and to advance. And then after the match, the Outcasts attack Sky Blue 3-on-1. I thought this might have ended up with somebody coming out to make the save for Sky Blue, but nobody did, as Rampage goes off the air. So that was tonight's episode of AEW Rampage. I thought it was a pretty good episode, had some good wrestling, especially Orange Cassidy defending the AEW International title once again. or against Johnny TV, Darby Allin and Brian Cage, Saraya and Sky Blue. Once again, really good match there. So overall, I thought we had a pretty good Friday night of some good wrestling. Before I wrap up this episode of the podcast, it was announced last night that at Impact 1000 next month, that there will be a reunion of Team 3D, as Devon is also returning to Impact Wrestling, at least for one more night anyway. And already it's been announced that the Beautiful People and Awesome Kong will also be appearing at Impact 1000. So that is all for this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hope to be back here tomorrow after Collision. But first, we'll be here for the Saturday episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans to preview tomorrow night's episode of AEW Saturday Collision. Remember, if you have any questions or comments or anything, if you want to leave feedback on tonight's episodes of SmackDown and Rampage, you can right here in the comment section, either here on Spreaker or YouTube, or whichever podcast app you listen to 360 Wrestling Podcast on. It's up to you. And that is all for tonight's episode. Thank you for tuning in. We'll talk to everyone tomorrow on Saturday's GMWF. But until then, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.